5, did we say?
No, just at the end.
Just at the end of the safety.
That's correct.
We are live.
Okay. This is a statutorily required sample count for the November 4th, 2025 general election. Although this is not a board meeting, we are providing the opportunity for the public to view this sample count for the purpose of transparency. There are 2 board members present, one from the Democratic Party, one from the Republican Party. The sample audit is being conducted on the following municipal offices in the precincts randomly selected by the State Board of Elections. North Boone, which is the First Baptist Church of Elon, will be sample counting the mayor race, and North Melville, which is E.M. Yoder Elementary School, will be sample counting the city council member race. The procedures are as follows. We will call the ballot selection and mark a tally. Each time a tally marking of 20 is reached within the tally group, the persons marking the tally marks will declare tally. When all ballots have been called by tally marks, the total will be compared to the number of ballots released on election night. Sample audit results are uploaded to the State Board of Elections with an explanation and documentation of any consistencies from the original reporting number. Okay, so we'll open. We're going to begin with North Melville. And it's empty. No more ballots. So we'll put this over here. All right, so this will be the city count, the race for city council.
Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. You have a go?
Okay. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Do I say write-in? In the name?
Mm-hmm.
Write-in Will Alston.
The write-ins. Okay, what's that? They'll have to write that down. So if y'all give them just a minute to
So we
write.
write,
Mhm.
and repeat that candidate.
Will Alston.
Put them one. That way, if he gets more than 5 votes, they have to be. The name
Reported
has
individually.
That's correct. Not as miscellaneous.
I'll keep going and tell me when you're ready to grab some.
Okay.
All right. Montrina W. Hadley. All right. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Blair Helms.
Is that a write-in?
Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Blair Helms. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Jonathan White. That's all. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley,
Tally.
Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, and that's all. Montrina W. Hadley, and that's all. Montrina W. Hadley, and that's it. Tim Bradley, and that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
Tally.
Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Tally.
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, I'm sorry, no Tim Bradley, I'm sorry. Montrina W. Hadley. And then there are two write-ins. Josh Benjamin. And Zach Sennett, spelled Z-A-C-H, last name S-E-N-N-E-T.
Okay. Tim Bradley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Blair Helms, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. That's all for that one. Montrina W. Hadley, Blair Helms, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. That's all. Okay. Jonathan White. And then there is a write-in. Okay. The write-in is that Nick? Okay.
I think it's Kirk.
Kirk Pearson. Kirk Pearson. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, and Johnson White. All right, Jonathan White. That's all for that one. Tim Bradley. And that's all for that one. Tim Bradley. Blair Helms. Rick Thomas. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Jonathan White. That's all for that one. All right, Tim Bradley and Jonathan White. That's all. And, okay. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Blair Helms. Tim Bradley. That's all for that one. and Tim Bradley,
Tally.
Martina W. Hadley, Blair Helms.
Okay. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White, and a write-in, Josh Benjamin.
Oh, we had him. Okay.
Montrina W. Hadley, and that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley,
One second. Okay.
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Blair Helms. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
Tally. Tally.
Jonathan White. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Blair Helms. Jonathan White. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Tally.
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Blair Helms. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley.
I've got Tim Bradley on talent.
Talent.
What was the next word you said?
Montrina W. Hadley
Okay.
after Bradley.
Thank you.
And Blair Helms. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Blair Helms. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White.
Montrina W. Hadley. That's all for that. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White.
Wait 1 second.
Mhm.
Okay.
Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley.
One green pen, one green pencil.
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. Jonathan White. That's all for that one. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Jonathan White. That's all for that one.
On Jonathan White. You tell him.
What are you one short?
You want a colored pencil? Would that help? It might, because they're getting harder to read.
They really are.
So I had.
See, I skipped right down there. So these were.
Hold on, just stop right there.
Mhm.
And so I saw that it looked like y'all was having a hard time. So I have a green pencil and then I have a pink pen.
That'll be fine. Sure.
That should help y'all see where you're at. I told her once you
These
got,
little check marks are just,
And
Yeah.
I'm going like back and forth. So those are together. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so the one I just read,
So you got Jonathan White.
was the individual one.
and that was a
And
tally.
that was a tally. Yeah.
She had jumped to the next row. She left some blank and jumped to the next. So she,
So I erased those and now I'm ready. Sorry.
Okay, great.
Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all for that one.
Maybe we should change colors each one.
Jonathan White. That's all. And again, Jonathan White. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Want to make sure she got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. That's all for that one. Montrina Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. And we have a write-in candidate, Timothy Taylor. Okay.
Thanks. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Henry,
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. And that's all. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. And that's it. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley. And that's it. Montrina W. Hadley. And that's it.
Oh, great.
You got Montrina W. Hadley checked, but then 3 write-ins of Montrina Hadley.
Okay, you can only count her one time.
Right.
So that would just be,
Montrina W. Hadley. Tim Bradley.
Tally.
Montrina W. Hadley.
Hold on, my pen quit. Here's a pen that might work. Okay. And there was Tim Hadley and then Matrina.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. And 1 write-in, Vicky Buckner. Vicky is spelled B-I-C-K-I. And Buckner is B-U-C-K-N-E-R. Tim Bradley. Blair Helms. Rick Thomas. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White.
Tally.
Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Thank you. Blair Helms.
I would just do a write-in and it would say Vicky.
Mhm.
The same Vicky we just had.
No, you have to do it because it didn't do it.
That's the last name.
Doesn't
Doesn't
have
have a
a
last name, just has Vicky.
V-I-C-K.
V-I-C-K-I. She must be very popular. Yeah, you know.
Supposed to know who that is.
You turn these to me when I'm sitting here not doing anything.
That's right. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Blair Helms. Tim Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all. Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
All right, Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Tally.
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all for this one. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Tim
I'm
Bradley.
sorry. Read that. Tim Bradley and then Blair Helms. Thank you.
All right, you just Blair Hams, so you marked the other two. Okay.
So you just add Blair Hams to that.
Montrina Hadley is not on this ballot.
Oh, okay.
It's not marked.
Okay.
So at some point, could we just recheck all our numbers before we go the whole way? So she was not in that last, how many did
She
you
is
have?
not on the ballot I'm reading.
Take that one off, and we do have Sandra.
Four, okay.
Thank you. I completed some. I appreciate it. All right. So that particular one, I had already said Tim Bradley first. Then the next one was Blair Helms. The final one is Rick Thomas. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. This is Jonathan White. Just Jonathan White. One. Okay. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. This one is Montrina W. Hadley and Jonathan White. Tim Bradley,
Sally,
Sally,
Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, and Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Blair Helms, Rick Thomas.
Okay. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, and that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White.
Sally,
Sally,
Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. And that's it. Blair Helms, Rick Thomas. And that's it. Tim Bradley, Blair Helms, Rick Thomas. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. And that's it. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. And that's it. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Sally,
Sally,
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, and that's all. Tim Bradley, and that's all. Blair Helms,
Tally.
Tally.
Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley,
Tally.
Tally.
Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. And that's all on that. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. And that's all on that. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. And that's all on that. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, and a write-in, Timothy Taylor.
It's bothering me.
They do that.
You never ask me questions until it's inconvenient.
Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
Tally Bradley,
Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. 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 Montrina W. Hadley, and the write-in, Colleen Frederick. Colleen. Last name is Frederick. Fredrick. And that's it. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Talent.
Tally.
Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. And that's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
Okay. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all for that. Tim Bradley. And that's all for this one. Did you get it?
Tim Bradley, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
You got 139 and Tim Bradley.
Montrina W. Hadley. And that's all for this one. Okay. Tim Bradley,
Talent.
Montrina W. Hadley, and Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, 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 Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, and that's all for this one. Montrina W. Hadley, and that's all for this one. Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. That's all for this one. Montrina W. Hadley. That's all for this one. Blair Helms, Rick Thomas. And that's all for this one. Blair Helms, Rick Thomas, and that's all for this one too.
Tally on Thomas.
Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
Tally.
Tally.
Jonathan White. That's all for this one. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, then Blair Helms. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley,
Tally.
Tally.
Blair Helms. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, and Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley and Jonathan White. That's all for this one. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. That's all for this one. Tim Bradley. That's all for this one. Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley,
Tally.
Tally.
Jonathan White. That's all. Tim Bradley, Blair Helms, and Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Jonathan White. That's all. Montrina W. Hadley, Blair Helms. And that's all for that one. Montrina Hadley, Blair Helms. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Rick Thomas. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Montrina W. Hadley, Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley,
Sally.
Blair Helms. That's all. Montrina W. Hadley. That's all. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Rick Thomas. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Montrina W. Hadley,
Oh, hold on one second. Okay, start again.
Montrina W. Hadley,
Mhm.
Blair Helms, Jonathan White. Rick Thomas, Jonathan White. That's all for that one. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
Sally.
Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. Tim Bradley, Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White.
You need to slow down.
Okay. Okay. Tim Bradley,
Sally.
Montrina W. Hadley, Jonathan White. No, Rick Thomas. Rick Thomas.
You have 25 on Thomas.
Shit, yes.
Excuse me. All right. On Trina W. Hadley. Then there are 2 write-ins. Colleen Frederick, who I believe we had before.
Yep.
And then Kelsey Peterson.
P-E-L-S-E-Y.
That is correct. And then Peterson, Peterson. And Bradley. Montrina W. Hadley. Jonathan White. And the final one, Tim Bradley. Rick Thomas. Jonathan White.
Okay.
Now, I suppose we wait for Dawn to return.
Right.
Is that it?
Okay, why don't I?
Okay. All right, so y'all look at each other to make sure y'all have the same. Did that work better, Jackson?
Yes, it's just when we get an odd one, rather, like
Rick,
Rick has 26.
Rick does have 26.
okay, and Jonathan White.
165.
165.
And how many write-ins total?
10 write-ins. And 2 of them had 2 votes.
Just so count
The
just
total of right.
the total,
Okay.
yes.
Twelve write-in votes.
Okay, let's see. Whew,
Good job.
thank you. All right.
You need to fill in the seal number.
Yes, please.
This,
Correct.
And the town of Elon council.
You're just calling mayor. That's
Just
the
call
only
me mayor.
range you're calling is the mayor. Yes.
Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp.
There's a box of them in the middle drawer.
Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp.
Can I ask you this? Was there, for the council though, was there a vote for the
Vote
council?
for the council.
Okay, so it wasn't a blank ballot. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a blank. ballot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Alex,
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Wait, I got that.
Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp.
Alex,
Emily Sharp.
Here's some fingers if you need.
Emily Sharp.
That's work. I'm sorry.
It does help.
My dad
Oh, it
worked
does,
at-
even if you put it on the end, just
My
a
dad
tiny one.
worked at the post office. So she gave me a nice one.
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Nothing. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp.
Alex,
Nope, nope.
Hi.
This one and this one. They're both blank. So that's good.
Okay,
Before we get to this one, and that is filled in, it's Emily Shaw.
okay, that's a tally then. That breaks down now.
Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Did that not have it? Okay.
So you have to call this one though.
I didn't call that one?
Yeah, he did. He
He
called
did.
it.
He called it.
Yeah.
Do you have 63?
Yes,
Okay. Emily Sharp.
Mhm.
Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. This one is no mayor vote.
Mhm.
Emily Sharp. 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 One write-in. Tiffany Jo Johnson. Piffany. And then Joe J-O. And then Johnson J-O-H. N-S-O-N. And then Emily Sharp. You want to?
Okay.
So you
Don't
have
make-
78.
yes.
They don't make them big enough.
We'll order some larger
Sometimes
ones.
there's larger ones.
Yeah, because they make some for your thumb.
Is that one any bigger?
It helps move the letters, and it also helps make sure you don't cut your finger.
That's better.
Okay.
But I still have. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp.
Tally.
Callie,
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Callie,
Tally.
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp,
Charlie.
Emily Sharp, 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 Emily Sharp.
Charlie.
This is a write-in. Joe Grimley. Joe, J-O, and then last name is Grimley. Emily Sharp, 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 Emily Sharp. This is a write-in. Follow below.
Jesse or Jerry? Jesse.
See Jesse.
Hmm?
Jesse, Jessy, first name. And Lowry or Folly.
I guess. He used to be the mayor of Elon. Jerry.
Charlie.
Yeah.
I bet that's who this is. It maybe because that looks like S's there instead of R's. That looks like S's. That's why I say Jesse. But
Yeah.
but it does look like you could be Jerry Talley on both. Is that a T?
Could be.
Just spell it the best you can.
Okay, we'll do Jerry Talley. Jerry. Talley. Here it is again.
And that one's
Yeah,
much more easier to read.
Jerry Talley. Tolley.
I would say that was the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now you have two for
T's.
Jerry Talley. Emily Sharp, 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 Emily Sharp,
Charlie.
Emily Sharp, 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 Emily Sharp. Have a write-in. Stephen Wade. Steven Way. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp.
Tally.
Yeah. Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Tally.
Emily
Hold
Sharp.
on. Changing pages. Now, did you call just one when I said stop?
Yes, so there should
So
be,
you
you should have one on your first, on your new page. For Emily Sharp. You should have one on your new page for Emily Sharp.
Okay.
That's what this one is. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp. Emily Sharp.
that was nothing, right?
That was nothing. Sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me. This is Nova. Anyway,
It's what?
it's a Nova.
Okay. I thought you said Nova, and I'm like, okay.
Emily Sharp. 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 I haven't counted this one yet. Emily Sharp.
Tally.
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Ty,
Bill Holmes.
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Ty,
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp.
Ty,
Emily Sharp. 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 Emily Sharp, 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 Emily Sharp. You can take us on home.
All right. Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp. It doesn't matter that I missed it.
No.
So I did call this one out. Emily Sharp, 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 Emily Sharp. Sorry, I'm sure to start your next line. Okay.
Thank you.
Emily Sharp, 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 Emily Sharp. Write in Luke Largo. Luke Larzo. Emily Sharp, 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 Sharp, Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp, Emily Sharp,
Natalie.
Emily Sharp, 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 finally, Emily Sharp.
169.
169.
Every time you turn one of those over, you're wondering, is it going to be a different name? No, Emily Sharp.
So whose name are you going to say in your sleep tonight?
That one I looked back at had Donald Duck on it. I got to see it. I got to see a Donald Duck. 'Cause I know people do that.
Yeah,
I got to see
And Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Probably they in the Mickey Mouse Donald Duck. This guy's get elected multiple jurisdictions.
I was going to say they probably could run.
Might
win
run
by
for office,
now.
just change your name. Mickey Mouse, change it to Donald Duck. And get elected.
You should have 369, right? No,
Well, you got write-ins. So let's see.
Sorry. That
You
was,
should have 369.
I had to take that.
6 write-ins.
okay.
Okay,
369.
Are
And
you-
6
is that-
write-ins.
I was going to say, do you want write-ins or?
No, give me the total for Emily.
Well, 200 on one page and 169 on another.
And what did you get?
A total of 369
Okay, well, one over again.
and 6 write-ins.
How many, let me see this. Did anybody have two?
Yes,
All right,
yes.
so it was-
Jerry.
Okay.
Jerry
All right.
Tomlin.
All right, we're gonna have to divide them up again.
We're off one more again.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you to write that? All right, 369.
Hey, you can help with this. Take a stack and just count Emily's votes, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We're off one again, over one.
Oh,
May I have a finger?
All right.
should I grab a stack?
Yeah.
Okay, be nice.
I know, I know. The boots people is what I said.
We'll see. I
Hey,
have
could
to
you mention me
use
that
the
pizza?
middle one, I'm sorry.
I don't like those things. My fingers are
Well,
fat.
they're not my favorite, but I need something.
They don't fit. My fingers are got too fat.
Okay. You just can't look this out for her.
Let me down if I can keep time out.
County cameras.
All right, 42.
51. 43.
56,
27.
49. 48.
All right, let's see what we got here. 4 plus 42 plus 51 plus 370. We're supposed to have 368. All right, everybody, switch and try again.
You got Shelley.
No.
I'm just going to
Go to the right.
I counted mine. so
Here,
I
I'll
can
take
see.
yours.
I counted mine
Going
twice
this
also.
way.
Oh, I got, all right, here. These are not,
yeah, these are.
but here, let's put those.
Let me get on the map.
If the circle's very faint, Judson, would that make a difference?
No, I realized something this time. If it because none of these went as unreadable because they wouldn't have been in the tabulator otherwise.
Okay.
If there is a mark in the circle, it counted as
Okay. Gotcha.
$49.
27.
$42.
43.
55.
55. Okay, good. That's still 369. That's what they got, 369. And the tapes is 368.
Let me get that sheet you're writing back up. Because it should have undervotes on it too for that contest. That'll tell us how many they had that were blank.
Okay.
36 undervotes. So where are all the ones?
Here's right here. Here's
We can-
what is all of yours marked? Yeah, all of mine's marked. Does anybody have any that's not marked?
I have these.
Okay.
Not marked with
Emily.
with
Emily.
Cameron. Yeah.
Basically, we can verify in reverse.
Right. I have unmarked and then write in. Okay.
That's right.
We need
I pulled
unmarked.
my write-in out, so I pulled the others.
We just need the
Okay, I'm
unmarked.
just gonna put right in there. So he's got it in
Here.
there.
Here's 3.
Okay.
And then here's 3 more that are
Let's see.
You just want the ones that aren't Emily, right?
Right, just the ones that
should-
has nothing up there. We keep those with
But
Yeah.
the write-ins are,
separate, just so that really goes right there.
should have 5 total write-ins according to mine.
well, we have 6, but on that you see he wrote in, but he didn't circle it on one of those. So that would be
That would be an
five
undervote.
votes.
Yeah.
So that should count in our undervotes that we're
Uh-huh.
counting.
Okay.
He wrote his name in, but
So I'm
didn't
looking
circle
for
it.
2 more. And, nothing in the first stack. Because it went at 36.
Mhm. So you got 34 there.
Mhm.
Let me look through my stack again.
All right, no. Oh, that's a right. All right, I got the 36 undervotes.
All right. Do you have 5 in the write-in stack?
1, 2, 3, hold on, my hands are down. 1, 2, 3, 4. I knew you were.
Or
I have-
right
I
on
have-
that stack.
I have one here.
He has a write-in.
All right. So now our undervotes and our write-ins are
Correct.
correct. So we just have to count again what remains.
Do you want us to put them in piles of 10? So
That's
we
what
break-
I was going.
Okay.
But yeah, just put them in piles of 10. Just,
Are we switching again?
yeah, just switch.
Okay.
That way. Here, Judson, I'm gonna hand these to you. You'll put those in the box
should all
over
have
there,
Yes.
so they won't get mixed in. And make sure that Emily's marked.
Yeah. This time you can look for one. So. Well, we already got 36.
Well, the one that had the write-in that wasn't circled in, that wasn't on this write-in, would that be one blank for Emily?
No, that, it would be but it wouldn't be a vote for her.
No, but I mean, it would be the
Yeah, it was an undervote.
under.
Yeah. Where's my sheet? Is that? See if that's. Yeah. 54. 41. 42.
41.
41.
$51. I'm sorry.
51. Okay.
Woo! We just lost 10.
I had 54.
54.
Yes.
Okay. Here, let me count yours too, because that could be it right there. It's been coming up 55, so.
Let me finish.
I got 27 with my little
Okay.
stack.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can please. Just don't mix these up.
Yeah.
Keep them separate. Just hand us all yours. Let's make sure. Because that could be it right here. Three, four. All right, let's see. All right. Four, 42, 51, 43, 54, 27, 49, and 48. 368. That was it. 368.
So we're good.
We're good. Somehow or another, yeah, one got called twice.
When you're saying the name so many times, it starts to sound like
Exactly.
nonsense.
But you gotta think, yeah. I trust this count better than the Italian, because how many times did we just count these?
So we were off one by times.
Both times.
Just don't leave me on my-
You're good. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, so I need y'all to, I'm gonna. All right, I need y'all to sign that again. Okay. And we're done.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Let's see, let's take these. Is that all the ballots?